Hey guys, it's John, and we're back with another video with Arthur. So today Arthur has brought a bald cypress tree. What's the story with this tree, Arthur?
Grew a whole bunch of bald cypress from seed back in the early to mid 90s, and some of those wound up being used by Mr. Zhao in that bald cypress planting we have in the Arboretum's collection.
Yeah, the one on the marble slab.
Right. And grew a bunch of others and used them for workshops and whatnot. And just a couple of them got put aside, and this was one, and it was largely just neglected. It was sitting in a pot, and it got watered, it got fertilized, it didn't get pruned, it was just growing, and every now and again it might get bumped up to a bigger pot, but no real work done on it of any kind whatsoever. And then eventually it wound up outside of the hoop house, growing out of doors in a big pot, and it was actually this pot that it's in now, and it came to be winter and I was going to move it into the house, and I went to pick it up, and it had rooted down out of the drain holes into the ground, and I thought, oh heck with it, just leave it. And it did that for like 2 years or so, and one day I was looking at it and it's like, oh.
Those are pleasant surprises, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, look at the base on that.
It's got an excellent root base on it, very nice.
What do you see?
Well, obviously it's a tree that's going to get a lot smaller. I love the root base. I love that the trunk is not perfectly straight. You got a little bit of character in it. I think those are things you should highlight. A lot of these branches, I'm afraid, are too large and don't have maybe some of the character that would really make this a fine tree.
What form would you look at?
Well, you're setting me up, because I'm partial to the flat top cypress, so that would be my my thinking. A lot of people do the pyramidal trees. I think that's more of a young tree. I really like the look of the ancient old cypress that's been broken off by a hurricane and the top's regrown, and doesn't probably have very many branches on it. Most of the branches are in the top, third of the tree. That's typically where I lean. This has lots of branches though, so it would be easy to do something otherwise, but I'm not sure. You got a whorl here that I wonder if we couldn't, if you wanted to go with the damaged tree style, if you want us to call it that, that might be a place to start. Some of these could maybe be trained up a little bit, and then to spread to form the canopy. But I'd be tempted to take a whole lot off of it and focus on that.
Well, it's a curious thing, because what you just outlined is pretty much the conclusion I came to as well.
Right.
At that very spot, that's the spot to do it, because you get here and all of a sudden you got this long stretch that doesn't have anything.
No branch. Yeah, but it would bud back, but still.
You have that flat top bald cypress that you showed at the Carolina Bonsai Expo last October. Yeah, that's a very impressive tree.
Oh, thank you.
And I love the look of it. We don't have any such in our collection, and so that also lended some impetus to doing this in that way.
Well, that's great.
And as for these branches, it's very nice that it has all these branches, but I never have enjoyed the bald cypress grown that way. I mean, they can be done that way. They can be done almost any way. Bald cypress is very versatile, as you know. But I think they really look best when they look like they do in the swamps where they've been ripped apart by hurricanes and regrown.
I think when you make them like a pyramid, you're trying to make a bonsai rather than a, as you just stated, a tree from the swamp. And those have always influenced me. I've been looking at them since I was a kid. So with this kind of material, I'm always more inclined to go with a more natural look for them.
So these branches, I'm not going to feel bad about cutting them off, because they had a lot to do with the great base that this tree has. So those branches have done a good job. They've served a purpose, they're coming off.
Great.
And I think, John, when this is done, it's not going to look very good. You know?
No.
No, it's gonna be a trunk with a bunch of short, stout things coming out of it. No secondary branching or anything like that.
You know, in my experience with cypress trees, when you have these larger branches like this, that's what you have to do. You can't leave them long. You've got to cut them back, and then that'll begin the ramification from there with secondary branches. So you don't have to take them all the way off. You can leave them short, but you want to leave them short. You don't want to leave them long, or otherwise your branches are way.
Yeah.
You know, the ramification part's way out away from the trunk. So, you ready to get to work?
I am.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Well, you've been busy.
You've been busy. We did this together. John has more experience than I do working with the Bald Cypress. Our friend Ken is here as well, and he's also more experienced at it than I am. So the three of us combined on this, and a good deal of the handwork was done by John.
I think it's ready for a show.
Yeah, this is abstract, modern American.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Well, let's explain what's going on.
So basically what we've done is limited the number of branches on the lower part of the trunk. We've also cut them way back so that as the buds pop and this branch begins to grow again, the branchlets begin to grow, this will create ramification. So we won't have a long area here that has no branching or ramification on it before it starts budding out. So that's why we cut it back that way. We had, I think, 7 branches at the top, and it was an interesting discussion trying to figure out. We opted to leave 3. One of the things we tried to do was use branches that were a little bit different heights. So for example, there was a branch here, and that really, to my eye, created a stopping point when I got there. So I thought we needed to remove one of those. We also carved the top. So
not really carved. We took it
ripped.
apart.
Yeah, we ripped. We didn't carve. We ripped the top out. So piece by piece.
And why are these left long?
Well, so basically, we have some choice. Once they bud back, they'll end up coming back down, but we don't know exactly where it's going to bud in here, so this leaves us a little bit more opportunity for the new buds to come out, the new branches to come out. Eventually we'll create a canopy up a little bit higher, but the branches will come from here and spread. So eventually these will be cut back, but we wanted to wire them and get them up to start with. Left a little extra just to make sure we had plenty of choices when it did bud.
It won't hurt anything either for this, and particularly this one, to fatten up a little bit more.
No, but I think it's important that they I think it's nice aesthetically that they're a little bit different sized. So hopefully that will, the variation in size will help along the line and be maintained along the line.
You can see we took off all of the branching that was down low and all around, and what we want to see the tree do is cover that over effectively with callus. We only left 2 places where, down here anyway, where you've got little stobs left behind, because, for a tree to get this way it takes many, many, many years, and so the branches that would have been down here would have come off a long time ago as the tree grew up and the canopy spread, and all evidence of them would likely be gone. And so, this is the kind of tree, John, that you might not get a good review of doing it in like a live demonstration.
Absolutely not.
Because people would look at it and say, well, what the, that doesn't look like a bonsai tree. What's going on?
Wow.
And it's doing what's right
for the
knowing
ultimate design of the tree. Yeah.
that's knowing that it's going to take years past here.
Yeah.
But this was the great leap forward, you know, from being just raw material to being something that now has a design and a concept and a future path. So I appreciate your help.
Oh, I appreciate always working with you, Mr. Arthur.
I think it's going to be a real nice tree. I look forward to us having a flat top in the collection, because we don't.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, guys, thank you.